Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're listening to Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
So on today's episode of Eating W's, we have our Week 6 recap, and man, was it a crazy week to say the least. Some of the games this week were total shockers, did not expect it at all, and I guess we'll just hop right into it. We'll talk about all those crazy games.
Yeah, a lot of things happened in the games.
Yep. So, of course, just a quick recap on where we stand. Hopefully, this will be an episode back up on YouTube. We're switching up how we're doing it a little bit. We are recording it straight through my laptop now, so hopefully that actually makes it work. So, just sending up a prayer is all we're really doing, because man, has it been a struggle the past few weeks to get anything out on the YouTube. So, we'll see how it goes. But let's jump right into our Week 6 recap. So, first up, we have the Buccaneers at the Eagles, which, I mean, I had the Bucs, Count had the Eagles. The Bucs pretty decisively won it for how close the score was, I feel like.
The score somehow looked closer than the game was, and actually, the spread was 6.5. So, I beat the spread.
Yeah, there you go.
If we were going by spreads. But, yeah, man, Philly just looks like a team who doesn't know how to run the ball. They look like a kid playing Madden. I mean, just
very much.
You know,
I agree.
You run the ball. What, they run the ball 8 times?
I don't know how
Once
many times
in the
they
first
ran the
half.
ball.
I know that.
I didn't get to see all the game. I just saw parts. But the few runs I did see by Miles Sanders, he looked so good.
Yeah,
so I don't know why
they
they're
ran
not
the
running
ball
it
more in the second half, and they got more points. So I don't know why it's not clicking with Sirianni.
Apparently, they don't see that connection there.
During the pregame, I was watching the pregame. You know what they do on NFL Network?
Yeah.
The fans outside of Lincoln Financial were actually chanting. They actually have a chant: Sirianni, run the ball. That's all I could hear in the background of the pregame during the NFL Network show was Sirianni, run the ball.
Which, it just makes no sense, because like I already said, Miles Sanders had a lot of really good runs. He's a really good running back overall. And they got a total steal in this year's draft with Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis, I believe, in like the 4th or 5th round. He's been killing it on the ground game, and they're just not giving him the chances.
Just not running it. I don't get it. It's not like Hurts is this, like, you know, all-time great passer. I don't know. From what I know, it's only been a short sample size, but from what I've seen, he just looks like a backup quarterback. NFL caliber, definitely, but
yes.
I don't know if he's someone you could build your franchise around. And it seems like that's what Philly's trying to do, and they're trying to force the pass with him. I don't know. He never forced the pass that much at Alabama. He was always just an all-around quarterback, dual threat a little bit, and he had a lot of receiver help over at Alabama.
He had a lot of help all around over at Alabama. That's why I don't trust Alabama quarterbacks, is when you have NFL level talent, half the time they're going to the NFL and losing talent.
Right, you're actually when your wide receivers in college were Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. So what? Those are 4 first-round picks, probable future Pro Bowl wide receivers. You don't have 4 Pro Bowl wide receivers on an NFL roster.
No.
So I mean,
it's crazy to think about, but it's really true.
In a sense, yeah. For the quarterback, you do maybe. I don't know. It's hard. That's hard to really gauge. Maybe not a less talented team in terms of just pure raw talent, but obviously an NFL team is constructed better than a college team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Either way, it's the all-stars. You know, it's each college team's greatest player or best player at that time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Every NFL spot, even the backups, that player was probably the best player on their college team or one of the best. Like,
yeah.
So
I definitely.
It's just crazy. I agree. The talent differential that can be.
It's quite a jump. As for the Bucs, they didn't really show anything special. They kind of just played like they have been.
They do. Antonio Brown showing his resurgence.
It kills me that Antonio Brown is all of a sudden
he only wants only Brady. For whatever reason, only Brady can get to him. I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
Good for him, I guess. I don't really if it's working for them, it's working for them. He's getting more targets than Evans and Godwin.
Yeah.
So I don't see why, but I mean, I guess it's been working for him, like I said, so they might as well stick to it. Next up, we have the Dolphins and the Jags in the London game, of course, and the Jags continue their dominant streak of playing in London.
The London Jaguars won it, just like I said they would.
It's crazy. Cal and I both picked the Jags on that one. Trevor, actually, Trevor Lawrence looked good, but he didn't really look overly good. Neither team looked overly good.
No.
The only person to really show themselves in that game was, I believe it's Matthew Wright, the Jaguars kicker, who has really struggled this season. I think he was 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 going into that game.
No, the kicker that struggled has been Josh Lambo.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Matthew Wright was his replacement, and he went 4 for 4 with the game winner and game tire. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so. I think it might have been 3 for 3 and some PATs.
Okay, but they cut Josh Lambo today. They named Matthew Wright the permanent starter at kicker.
Well, yeah, they might as well.
I mean, he earned it. Hell, kicking a 53-yarder over there across the pond there.
I must say, though, he barely made those kicks distance-wise.
Oh, they were 50-plus
For
yards.
an NFL kicker, though, he was making those
probably,
by a yard, maybe.
No, and not everybody's Justin Tucker.
Yeah, they were close.
Or Mason Crosby.
Did he miss 4? Is that why he's Mason Crosby?
No, he didn't miss 4. He hit the game winner. That's the only one we look at.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, outside of that, I don't think Tua looked great. The Dolphins
kind of looked like a mess. I thought they'd look better with Tua coming back.
I don't think either team looked great. That was kind of a cluster of a game, to be dead honest.
These are the teams we send over to show.
Exactly.
This really isn't the best that we have. I don't know why we're not doing that, but
they looked at London and they're like, you guys just get the worst we have because we don't want him here.
I can say though that it hasn't been 100% confirmed, but we do believe that Urban Meyer did fly back with the team this time. He is not staying in London at the pubs.
He doesn't like the London chicks. He's out of there.
I don't know. London pubs, they just seem more about drinking than partying, and that's not Urban's style.
No. He's looking for the tightest pants, or I guess loosest pants that he can find. So, but past that, we got the Vikings at the Panthers, and man, I'll take it. I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't expect to win. I was really happy when we did. Now, of course, in classic Vikings fashion, we tried as hard as we could to choke it away at the end.
Do everything you can to lose the game.
Exactly, but Kirk Cousins said, no, we are in the middle of Kirktoberfest. And he refused to let us lose that game with that dot to KJ Wright at the end to end overtime. Man, that was so pretty.
What do you got KJ Wright playing wide receiver for?
Did I say KJ Wright?
Yeah, he's a lot better linebacker.
That dot to KJ Osborne to end overtime. I'll correct that there. And my favorite part about that game is, of course, I'm a Justin Jefferson fanboy, but they were putting double coverage safety help over Jefferson all game, the entire game, every snap.
And then Thielen broke out.
And not only did Thielen break out, and Osborne had a good game, but even with double coverage on him and safety help on him all game, Jefferson still had, I believe it was 8 or 9 receptions for 80 yards, which is just beasting.
That's still good when you're getting double covered like that. You're getting all the attention. You can still get catches and yards. That's I don't know. That's how you start to show you do belong in the best. As Richard Sherman was saying.
Sherman recently said on his
the
podcast.
Conversation for number one or for top wideout or something like that.
You can't have a conversation about best wide receivers in the league without mentioning Justin Jefferson. And of course, I fully agree with Richard Sherman.
I guess you could give him an honorable mention.
Big respect for Richard Sherman all of a sudden.
He's got a few years in production years to go to really, I think, be talked about. I guess you could mention it, but...
I don't know. I think definitely mention. I agree with that, but I think he'll get there a lot quicker than you'd think. But as for the Panthers, man, they're not looking like they were.
Started 3-0 and now they're 0-3. So are they a bad team?
I don't.
They lost 3 in a row.
I don't know. Just like your west to east logic, and my 3 losses in a row, bad team logic is just getting destroyed because I don't think the Panthers are a bad team. They started so hot. They had that huge win against the Saints. Of course, it was the Saints down week.
Right.
But I'm just so confused. I don't know what to think about them at this point. Every time I think I got them figured out, they just completely flip it. Darnold was playing so well to start, just like I thought he would, and then now he's not playing bad exactly per se, but he's not playing near what he was those first few weeks.
It seems like his confidence got shook again a little bit for whatever reason. I don't know.
Something about it. I don't know. It's been sad to watch because, like I said, I really like the Panthers overall. I really like Darnold. I think getting McCaffrey back will definitely help him a little bit, just because even if McCaffrey doesn't play amazing, because I know Chuba Hubbard has been playing pretty well, but just having your star player on the field in any way, shape, or form always helps a little bit with morale and confidence.
Even with Darnold, McCaffrey's by far the lead cog in that offensive machine.
Definitely.
I mean, for someone that can run, and what do you have? There's multiple games where he's had over 100 yards running and receiving.
Well, in 2019, he had the 1,000.
Yeah, so
he had 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000.
When you got a weapon like that, that's just that's Marshall Faulk stuff.
Yep. He was one of the only few other to have 1,000
So
years,
yeah, I mean, when you got a player like that, that's real special talent. It doesn't matter how good the team around you is. He's that talented, that good that he makes a difference on any team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. One player I'm really looking for to finally show up on that offense though is Robbie Anderson. I thought he would play.
Had a really down year.
I thought he'd play a much bigger role.
He had a key drop there on a late third down.
Yeah, I had a JV game during it, so I sadly haven't even actually got to watch the game
you haven't watched it yet?
For
I knew
just
you
some
recorded
highlights,
it, but
yeah, I haven't got to watch the full game yet. I plan on doing it at some point, but we'll see.
Yeah,
if
he had a bad
that.
drop on like a 3rd and 7 that could have won when the Panthers had the lead still before the.
Yeah, I know they had the lead pretty early.
Yeah.
And of course, one last mention about that game is Dalvin Cook finally came back and then had, I think it was like 140 some rushing yards and a touchdown.
It's like he didn't miss a beat at all.
Dalvin Cook, baby, he's back. But yeah, it was a good game overall. I don't know why the Vikings even winning, like giving their fans a heart attack. But I'll take the win in the win column. We're at 500, baby, going into our bye week. But next up, we got the Chargers and the Ravens. And shocker, the Ravens just picked the Chargers apart, man.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, the Chargers missed the flight from LA to Baltimore because they forgot to show up. That was the definition
of the
West Coast team going to the East Coast to play, because that's what you could look like. Sluggish and absent.
Literally, the second you said miss the flight, I was like, wait a second. Los Angeles,
Baltimore.
Oh no! Here it comes.
It's right. You gotta do the we know.
Yeah. We know. Here it comes. But I mean,
I picked Baltimore this time. Didn't I?
Nope, you picked Chargers.
Oh, I picked the Chargers. Right, because
I also picked the Chargers.
Right, because the West Coast teams had been winning on the East Coast. I just can't win for losing.
I still cannot tell if this Ravens team is good or not. Because sometimes they just look dominant throughout all 4 quarters like they did against a good team in the Chargers. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes they let bad teams like the Colts, well, the Colts aren't necessarily a bad team, but especially the Lions, an example, get these leads on them, and then
Lions,
they totally need late game heroics and momentum shifts to even have a chance. So it's just... They're the craziest 5-1 team I've ever seen. Just like the Cardinals are one of the craziest 6-0 teams I've seen in a while.
They're basically what I've gotten. They're like a 2017 Madden team, because you got Latavius Murray, you got Le'Veon Bell, you got Devontae Freeman. I mean,
the running back core there is hilarious. I enjoy looking.
You got Lamar Jackson just running around, like you do. Because like when you give your quarterback 99 speed and 99 acceleration,
you pretty much
you just run around with them, and I mean, you just got to learn how to slide. Because in Madden, if the quarterback gets hit, they automatically fumble, which is not lifelike. Because Lamar gets hit all the time and he doesn't fumble,
unless he's on the goal line. Then it's a guaranteed fumble if he gets hit.
Geno Smith.
What?
Or Geno Smith.
Oh yeah, poor Geno Smith.
We'll
get to that. That was sad. That was sad to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna be really interested to see how the Chargers bounce back from this game next week. Next up, we got the Rams at the Giants, and the Rams just destroyed them. Believe it or not.
Oh, I was being Geno Smith. Sorry.
We'll get there.
Okay,
We'll get there.
just-
Calm down. But yeah, there's not much to say about the Rams game. They just absolutely destroyed them.
The Giants might be the worst team in the NFL, even though they're the only win. No, the Lions are the only winless team, aren't they?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah,
Because the
but
Giants got to win at some
They
point.
did get one win, but they look like the worst team in the NFL to me. I don't know if Daniel Jones is the answer. I don't know if Joe Judge is the answer. Like
Who all played? I know Saquon was out and Jones played. Tony played, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and he got hurt again.
He did. Did
Yeah.
Galladay play?
I don't think so.
I don't think he did either. I don't
No,
think
they've
Galladay
just got a
played.
rash of injuries and no real depth or talent behind. I mean,
very
this
much
is the
not.
next guy up mantra, but yes, that's true, the next guy up, but usually the next guy up should have some talent to step up, and it seems like they don't really have any talent in their depth.
No, I definitely agree.
Because as these guys get hurt, you got nobody blowing up, nobody shocking anyone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, this guy
Look at
came
this
out of
guy
nowhere,
here. He is. Yeah, exactly.
They got Devontae Booker, who they thought,
Devontae Booker has played decent
right,
in the
been
absence of
played
Saquon,
decent.
but just not.
He's
enough
always
to-
been a breather guy.
Yeah.
I never thought of him as the number one guy, but perfect complementary piece. But
yeah, when it was him and I believe it was Melvin Gordon when he first went to Denver.
Mhm.
That was a good little tandem there. I like that. But yeah, Cal and I both have the Rams as our lock this week.
We
and
both
they
hit it.
did exactly what they should have done, which was beat up on a weakened team. So
yep.
next up, we have the Texans at the Colts. And speaking of beating up on weekend teams, the Colts just absolutely destroyed the Texans. Is DM3 going to be like the Saints? Is he just going to go every other week
Up
too?
weeks and down weeks.
Except for he's starting with the down week. He's just on the opposite of the
He's
Saints.
on the opposite
He's
of
going
the
to go
Saints.
down, up, down, and then now up next week? I don't know. We'll have to see. But
I don't know.
again,
I thought Houston would play a lot better than that for a divisional game, and they just.
yeah, Callan took the Texans this one. I stuck with the Colts, and the Colts just destroyed them. There wasn't much to do there. Wentz has continued to play well. Not great, but well.
Decent.
Good enough to win.
Yep.
And it was just kind of...
Jonathan Taylor is the one
It was
who
just a
won that
beat up
game.
there. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I believe it was 145 and 2 touchdowns.
Mhm.
Totally took over that game. And it's pretty nice when you can get the lead with the running game, because then you can just keep the lead with the running
Yeah.
game too. You got all that momentum built up. So Colts just absolutely destroyed him in that one. Next up, we have the Chiefs and the Washington football team, which of course the Chiefs pulled out the win. I got to watch very, very little of this game. I think I only saw a few plays. Did you get to watch any of it? I don't really want to talk too much about it.
No, it was going on the same time as the Packers game, which I was watching on my phone while watching your game. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of football going on. I know that the Washington had the lead going into halftime.
Did they?
Mahomes
Wow.
had 2 picks, and then it's like the 2019 Chiefs came out of the locker room. In
The
second
only
half.
play I did see is, I can't remember exactly
The
what he did,
awful
but
throw.
Mahomes just made
Mahomes
some
tried to do
god-awful-
his, like he was getting hit and tried to do a side throw, and as he did it, he got hit, and it just went up like a duck.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I mean,
it almost looked like a Joe Webb pass.
magic can only last for so long.
It can.
You know it's going to break
And
down
you know
eventually, and it finally is.
the talent and skill came out in the second half because they didn't try any more of that crazy schoolyard bullshit they likes to do, and they end up scoring, I think, like 21 unanswered or something, and they end up putting it away then. But
It's crazy
and,
how good
and
you
then
play
their
when you
defense
just...
pitched a shutout in the second half. So
It's crazy how good you can play when you just actually play
when you
instead
don't
of running around.
yeah, he's just trying too hard that he thinks he can just do anything, and he needs a little reality check.
Definitely.
He's good, he's talented, but he thinks he can just make every throw and do anything, and you can't. I don't even you say Rodgers can do anything.
Well, no,
No
it's just
quarterback
not
is
possible.
100% perfect. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't lose a game.
Exactly.
And he's starting to learn what his flaws are, and defenses are starting to learn what his
I was going to say, I think
flaws
that's
are.
much bigger as defenses and especially defensive coordinators
Mhm.
are starting to find the cracks in the armor
Yep.
on that team. So, next up, we got the Packers at the Bears. And again, didn't get to watch much of it. The only thing I saw is when he said his entire effing life, Rodgers owned the Bears. Which I personally thought was kind of annoying just because that's so not Rodgers. Like,
Yeah,
that's so unlike him.
Yeah, it is.
Well, but he was much more quiet about it earlier in his career. I feel like he's much more, like, open with his trash talk and that kind of stuff now.
Hey, he's earned it.
I'd agree. He's earned it, yeah.
What was it? God, is that right? He's 21-5 against the Bears.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's what it was. That just sounds like way too many wins, but
no, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was something in that area.
Yeah. 13 years against the Bears, 4 years sitting on the bench, 21-5.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so he scored it wasn't the go ahead, it was the game sealing touchdown.
The game sealing.
They were within
you guys
3,
were up by 3
and there was like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he ran it in for a score, and he took his belt back because for the second time in his career against Rodgers, Robert Quinn got a sack against Rodgers, and what does he do? He puts the belt on, and what does that do? That just fires Rodgers up. Now, the first time he did it, Robert Quinn was playing for the Dolphins, and this was the 2016 game when Rodgers went into Miami and beat the Dolphins on the fake spike. Have you ever seen that? He runs a fake spike to Devontae, and it was Devontae's rookie year. I only remember it because he made a rookie mistake because he should have went out of bounds.
16.
So it would have been 15?
I thought it was 14.
14?
I think Devontae's rookie year is 14 at least. I'm not fully positive.
I was talking to Michaela about it, and it was one of the first games her and I watched together. So yeah.
Nevertheless. So
he did it twice. It's like, Robert Quinn, you gotta stop taking this belt from Rodgers because he owns that belt. He owns you, and he owns the Bears. It's even on Wikipedia. If you look, owner of the Bears, Aaron Rodgers.
Is it really?
100%. On Wikipedia, someone changed it.
Hilarious.
I swear, yeah.
That is amazing.
If you go to the Bears Wikipedia page, I don't know if it's been changed back, but on Sunday it said owner Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God, that is great.
Because all his life he fucking owned
that
them.
Is amazing.
I love that. I love that the cameras caught it. Oh man, that's just.
Yeah, they must have upgraded the mics. You can hear everything those players say now.
Even with the full stadiums back. I don't know
Yeah.
what they freaking. I don't know if they need to turn down the boom on it or what. I don't know.
I don't know. But as for the game, it was. I mean, I think we were pretty close with our predictions last week. The Bears played it a lot closer than I think a lot of people expected, but the Packers ultimately came out
Fields
on
had
top.
a couple of rookie mistakes that are just rookie mistakes.
As I say, your first divisional game, big rivalry.
He had
like
a couple
that.
of deep throws that he probably should have just threw away. One that was picked off. He tried too hard to make plays when he should have just threw it away or took the sack. And he's gonna be good though.
It happens.
And they didn't do as much quarterback running as I'm glad that they did.
It really surprises me
because, like I said, I feel like that's Green Bay's kryptonite on defense is the running quarterback, and they didn't have very many option plays or bootlegs. So
he is so good at running. They need to really open up that playbook to the quarterback run game.
It's funny. The opening drive, they looked flawless. They looked really good. It was kind of scary. And then the defense just seemed to kind of figure it out, and the Bears never really had a counterpunch after that.
We'll have to see if they finally ever figure out that Justin Fields is indeed a running quarterback. But next game we got is the Bengals at the Lions, and again, kind of just another blowout. The Lions really didn't look that good, which is weird because the past few weeks they've looked good and just lost games, but this time they just lost.
They looked flat. I'm surprised by how bad they looked. Not that I didn't think they couldn't lose because they have been losing,
especially being in Detroit.
But I thought with the fact that just how emotional MCDC has been getting, how do these players not want to just die for this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Man, the Lions are going to get someone. I think we said this last week. They're going to get a win, and that they're going to get on an emotional roll because MCDC is just going to keep that energy going.
I totally agree.
Once they do get a win, and I don't know if they'll stop losing once they get one.
I could see that happening. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Bengals are a really good team this year.
Bengals are really good
kind of
this
one of the
year.
shockers this year. And they played super well, but I just did not expect that much of a blowout.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be like that.
It was just a destruction pretty much from beginning to end. But next up, we had the Cardinals-Browns, which, speaking of a surprising game, the Browns just looked bad. The Cardinals just beat them.
The Browns are battered.
Yeah.
Brownie batter. That's their brownie batter right now. You got Chubb out, you got Kareem Hunt out, you got OBJ beat up, playing hurt, you got Jarvis Landry out.
You got Baker
playing with one arm, somehow trying in there make the Brownies. I'm trying to fit a joke in here. I'm trying to put something together. The material's there.
You already lost with brownie batters. So. But a kind of bright spot for that battered Browns team is Donovan Peoples-Jones, the rookie last year, rookie 2020 draft pick out of Michigan.
Yep.
Really showing up, man. He's been playing well.
He was Michigan's best player.
Oh, by far, Michigan's best player.
And I know a lot of people thought he'd be in the first round. He kind of fell in the draft a little bit because Michigan didn't have a great year his rookie year, his draft last year. But yeah, he caught that Hail Mary where he's not the biggest guy. He's kind of average height, and he just timed that perfectly and went up and got it. I mean, that was crazy. I've seen the big guys jump up and get it, like a big power forward boxing out, but usually the shooting guard and the pointing guard is down there boxing out for the big jump ball. I mean, he went up and got it. That was good. He showed up as the lead receiver when Beckham was in and out, and obviously Landry on IR. But man, I think they might have a superstar there in DPJ.
I agree. Of what I saw of that game, he was about the only bright spot I noticed. DeAndre Hopkins, Nuke Hopkins, really took over for the Cardinals. He finally showed up.
The defense just got confused. They left him wide open in the back of the end zone. And after that, the game was over. You can tell the Browns were just defeated after that. It's just like, what are we doing?
They kept it close score-wise, but it wasn't really that close. But moving on, we had a great game, probably game of the week, with the Cowboys heading to New England to take on the Patriots.
One other thing about the Browns game is, if the Browns weren't so injured, even if they were playing hurt, Chubb and all those guys, I bet they either win or it's a lot closer game. Part of the reason Arizona dominated so much.
I see what you're saying.
That the Browns just had so many players missing, and Arizona had most of their
except for Cliff
arsenal.
Kingsbury, which is funny. Cliff Kingsbury, their head
but
coach.
They had Vance Joseph, who's been a head coach. I mean, it's not like you had
they got a good coach.
Richie Beyonce just showing up for his first coaching job.
Richie Beyonce. But yeah, as I mentioned, probably game of the week was the Cowboys at the Patriots. Went into an overtime shocker. Cowboys ended up winning in overtime off a touchdown. The only thing I want to mention of this game is I just thought it was hilarious. Back-to-back plays, not counting special teams to kickoff. Trayvon Diggs had a pick six to take the lead. And then the very next play that wasn't special teams got absolutely destroyed on a double move by Kendrick
That's what
Bourne.
I said.
And that's exactly what Callan said.
And you're going to get a coach. He's going to get him on a double move. Now watch. Now these coaches are going to figure out why they haven't figured it out before. But now that Belichick's done it with Kendrick Bourne, now these coaches are going to be like, I got a receiver that can do that.
Yeah,
Devontae can do that. You know what it is about Trayvon Diggs? I figured it out. He's the cornerback version of Jameis Winston. He has just as many touchdowns as interceptions.
Why you gotta do Jameis like that? I thought for sure.
I thought that was a compliment.
I thought for sure you were gonna go. His coach just told him to be prepared.
He just told me to be prepared. No, I don't even know. I said last week that I thought the Patriots would win because Belichick was gonna outsmart McCarthy. He did.
Oh, the
fact that the Patriots were in that game means that talent is what won that game.
Definitely.
The Cowboys have way more talent on the offensive side of the ball than the Patriots do, I think, on the whole team. And even the Cowboys defense is starting to show that they have some talent over there. And that's what won that game.
Definitely.
McCarthy totally got out-coached. There's no way they should have won that game. But
I mean, the Vikings got the Cowboys. Vikings and Cowboys both have a bye week 7, and then we got the Sunday night game week 8.
that's going to be a good one.
I can't wait for that. I'm excited
Diggs,
for that
oh
game.
no. I was going to say Diggs versus Diggs, but...
Yeah, it's still 2019.
Yeah.
Diggs versus Diggs. No, I'm just kidding. But next up, speaking of good old Richie Beyonce, we had the Raiders at the Broncos, and Cal and I both picked Broncos in this one. I thought for sure they would win, but the Raiders just played well.
Maybe Gruden was causing more troubles than we know, because they looked like the team that had the relief of finally getting out from under that negative head coach that we were talking about. Usually when a coach gets fired because you're 2-11 or you've had consecutive bad seasons or a bad locker room, and then a coach gets fired, the team comes out next week, plays really well. I thought with this scenario, the fact that it was unexpected, that most of the players I thought really liked Gruden, that this would be really hard for them and difficult for them with this week, and it seemed almost like a relief for them to come out and play this week.
I agree.
And Denver, I don't know, they're
just not playing good.
I don't know if Fangio's that good of a coach.
They're playing good enough to beat the teams they should beat.
Right.
But if they get in a close game, or especially if they get competition that they probably shouldn't beat, they just don't show up, and you can tell.
That comes down to coaching, because they definitely have a talented roster. That defense is great. The offense shows it can put up points. I know they're a little beat up too, but they still have the firepower with a couple of running backs. They still got Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, I believe, is going to be coming off IR.
If not next week, I think the week after.
They still
Jerry
got
Jeudy
Sutton, who had a huge game, and still. So I don't know. I think it's the coaching there. I think Fangio's a fantastic defensive coordinator. I think he's just one of those guys who's a better coordinator than a coach. He's pretty old school. He's been in the league a long time. So I don't know if maybe it's just, I don't know. It's kind of become, even in the coaching game, it's kind of becoming a young man's league.
You can tell.
In terms of the coaching game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The league is still transferring into the younger generation.
And so, and the older guys, the older coaches, and they're being the coordinators. And that's where their specialty's at. Vic Fangio ran some of the greatest defenses that I've ever seen. He ran that 49ers defense of the late 2000s when they had Kaepernick. And they had Patrick Willis and all on that defense they had.
Navarro Bowman,
Patrick Willis. They had. I can't think of them now.
They have Anton Bethea.
They had Bethea and Dante Hittner.
Yep,
remember
Dante
that when he
Whitner.
wanted to change his name to Dante Hittner? Everybody was kind of like, doesn't that sound like Hitler? And then that whole thing kind of got dropped.
You're right. I guess it
yeah,
does.
maybe I should not change it. So, but. And then he went to Chicago and had really good Chicago defenses at the end of Urlacher's career, when they were like when they had Cutler, like the 2014 season, I think, when they that's when they hurt Rodgers and they broke his collarbone with who was it that broke?
It was Shea McQuillan.
Shea McQuillan, yeah, on Boise State.
I remember it.
Best thing he ever did.
As I say, I remember that hit.
Or most notable thing he ever did.
It made the Vikings' lives a lot easier once Rodgers went out.
And then
much easier.
He taught Anthony Barr how to do it.
Yep, and then Anthony Barr doubled up.
So I think Fangio is he's a defensive coordinator, and it's starting to show that maybe he just doesn't have the head coaching qualities to be a long-term head coach.
I'd agree. I definitely see what you're saying. And then last little point on this is Mayock said that Beyonce was a great motivator, one of the greatest leaders he's ever seen.
He was the greatest leader he had ever met, or something like that. And it's like, you're just saying that because you just had your coach kicked out of the league.
I don't know. After watching that, maybe.
Boy, they were sure fired up to play for him.
Yep. Next up, we got the Seahawks at the Steelers, and of course, Cal and I both picked this as our upset, and we were, of course, both wrong also. We talked a little bit about Geno Smith earlier.
So close.
Poor TJ Watt. ended, or not poor TJ
No.
Watt. TJ Watt ended poor Geno Smith's game in devastating fashion with that
That's
strip
all I
sack
remember.
at the
I
end there.
was watching. They just showed Geno on the ground like this.
For so long,
and I'm
he's
like,
just staring at
are they
his
gonna
hand.
get him up? Like, are they just gonna play with him? Just
Man,
go around
dude.
him. He's kind of in shock. Like,
I feel bad because
I know.
Geno, he really did play well. He played.
He did.
He played good enough that he probably could have won that game, but TJ Watt just said no.
And
he just said no.
He was gonna too.
Oh yeah,
And
he
the
was.
fact the
he
Seahawks
was
had
gonna
the
break
ball
out,
first,
yeah.
he was so. That's when he was taking off to run downfield, and if he does, he gets tackled from behind, and if you look, he had a lot of open field in front of him.
Did he?
Yeah,
And
I almost think
he's
that
a
was
quick
what
guy,
it was,
yeah.
and he got excited and got kind of
Loosened it up, got
not
ready
maybe
to
not,
run.
but lost focus.
Yeah.
You gotta think about it when you gotta get that ball high and tight.
Yep. Man, it was devastating to watch that happen. That made me really sad. But I think it was kind of expected. We called it an upset for a reason because it was. I think the Steelers were expected to win that game. They played well. Najee, of course, still is looking really good. Just balling out at that running
Passing
back
games starting
position.
to come around.
Passing game's looking better even without Juju. Ben looked better than he has the past few weeks.
He's still good. He's got the talent. He's just not mobile. He looks like a big ass
He doesn't
redwood
have the-
tree running around out there.
That's
But
pretty
if you can
accurate.
protect him and let him just be a tree, he'll pick you apart.
Yeah.
I mean,
He doesn't have quite the arm talent anymore, but he definitely still has the brain to get it done. But next up, and probably the biggest shock of this week in my opinion, the Bills at the Titans, and the Titans pulled off a win in very dramatic fashion, stopping them on a 4th and 1 inside the 10, I believe.
4th and 6 inches.
Yeah, so not even 4th and 1.
Inside the 5.
Yeah.
So they had that rare occasion where you could get a first down inside the 10-yard line before it became 1st and goal. So all they really needed was 6 inches because they still had 50-some seconds left.
Oh yeah, they still had more than enough clock.
And I think one timeout. So, yeah.
They were going for the win. They didn't want to go into overtime.
Yeah, Josh went for the QB sneak when they could have hit a chip shot field goal for the tie. And it looks like he slipped when he tried to hit the hole and just, he slipped and, lost his feet. And they say it was stuffed. He doesn't say he slipped. It looks like he slipped. But it looks
like
stuffed,
he
too.
slipped.
Jeffrey Simmons is a big man.
I love the play call by Sean McDermott. I don't blame him at all for going for it. In the situation with only needing 6 inches and having Josh Allen, I think it was more than reasonable enough to go for it. It just didn't work out.
Right.
That's how it
When you
goes
got that
sometimes.
offense, it's hard to. You got arguments for both sides. You got one of the top offenses. It's 4th and inches. If you can't get inches, what are you doing? But at the same time, when you can tie a game late in the game,
Live to play another day.
yeah. Right.
Yeah, it can
I
definitely
literally
go either way,
see
but-
both sides. It's not. There wasn't a wrong answer there for that one.
Yeah. It was an impressive win by Derrick Henry. I mean the Titans.
Right,
The
by
Titans.
Derrick Henry.
It was
Who,
Derrick Henry.
I don't
It
know
was
if he-
Derrick Henry beat the Bills.
hit a 75-yard touchdown run, and he hit a top speed of 21.8 miles per hour.
21.8 miles an hour.
The fastest recorded speed in the NFL so far this year.
If you watch that game, you probably remember that number because the announcer said it about 50 times.
And
so.
the cornerback on the Titans is Jackrabbit Jenkins.
Another thing he
Also,
said about 50 times.
I was like, is he saying Jackrabbit or Janoris? Because I'm pretty sure his name's Janoris Jenkins. I'm like, oh my god, is he just letting him
botching
go
his name for
saying
this long?
this? And then I quickly learned that that's his nickname, or it's got to be his nickname,
It is
right?
his nickname.
Were they
I've heard
really,
it before,
or
yeah.
somebody let Louis Riddick go all night calling him Jackrabbit Jenkins?
No, I've heard Jackrabbit
Okay,
Jenkins
because
many times.
I didn't know that was his nickname till last night. So for a while there, I was really like, "Oh shit!" Like
He doesn't know
someone's
this guy's name.
tell him. Like, why is nobody telling him?
No, but it was a great game to watch overall. I got to catch a good little bit of that game. But that is our recap for Week 6. Make sure to join us Thursday for our preview of NFL Week 7. But until then, don't forget
to eat the W.